Welcome to On the Fence, the show that's about helping you decide whether or not to spend your hard-earned money on the biggest and possibly best releases. Nick.
Hans.
Oh yeah, go ahead, that was way too quiet. You can go. There you go. We, or more likely you, are looking at today Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart.
Yes.
The dream is dead, Nick. No more dirty subtitles in Ratchet and Clank games. Makes me sad.
Ripped apart.
Is that actually...
I think that's what they were going for.
It's not as good.
Not necessarily dirty, but...
Not as good as Up Your Arsenal.
Yeah.
Nick.
We're tools of destruction.
Nick, what exactly is Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart?
So Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart is the kind of the continuation of the actual Ratchet and Clank story. So obviously, I think it was 2016, they released like kind of the movie tie-in one, where it kind of like retold the story of the first game with some alterations to kind of make a tie-in with the movie that had just released. But Rift Apart is now back to actually continuing the story that, like, I think had been on hold since like 2012. Like none of them had come out in PS4 as far as I'm aware, so apart from that reboot. So this is the first one that continues the story since the PS3, and essentially continues the story that was left off in Into the Nexus of Ratchet and Clank kind of have decided to almost like retire as heroes and just kind of take it easy. And they kind of, this story sets up, they're doing like a parade to celebrate them because there's some anniversary, and as part of it, Clank has repaired the Dimensionator, which was introduced in Into the Nexus, to kind of let, the idea of Ratchet wanting to be able to find the other Lombaxes that have been trapped in another dimension. In doing so, Dr. Nefarious, longtime enemy of Ratchet and Clank, kind of gets it and just tears all the dimensions apart. And essentially then Ratchet and Clank get tossed into this dimension where they meet almost their equivalents in Rivet, who I'm playing as now, and another character that's introduced later on, who is like Clank's equivalent in this dimension. And then they kind of set up that, okay, we need to like create a new Dimensionator and fix the dimensions.
So, I didn't play a lot of Ratchet and Clank in between kind of, after 2, I didn't really play that much until the reboot. Will I be completely lost in the story coming into this, or is it kind of like, nah, you'll get it as you go? Like,
no, like the actual like overall story is it's kind of easy enough to grasp. Of like, like they're trying to find the Lombaxes. Like they pretty much spell out that like you don't necessarily need to know what happened in like every single Ratchet and Clank game up to this point. Right. Like it is very much a pretty good jumping on point for like any newcomers to the series.
I suppose as well, like the idea of like the Lombax is that's set up in the reboot as well as like, like the fact that he is like seems to be like the last of the Lombax. Nick,
yes,
look at that.
Yes,
what you just did there.
So I've already, typically which doesn't happen during an On the Fence is I've already completed this game.
Nick platinumed it.
Yes, I got the platinum.
Hashtag humble brag.
Yes, I got the platinum trophy, and I actually kind of wanted, so I've actually been replaying through this to get back up to this planet, because I think it's a really good showcase of some of the like the next gen improvements that have kind of been possible because this is on the PS5.
Yeah.
Oh god.
As I admire the scenery, this asshole's gonna try to take me from behind.
So you saw there, like, obviously one of the big things with PS5 was this idea, it was like, we've got this ultra fast SSD, and you can see like this literally just loaded like a whole other fucking planet like in a near split second. And like I can go between these at any time just by striking these.
Like that is ridiculous.
Yeah.
I get like it's like from this distance it's kind of more like you're just reloading a skybox, but it's still a very busy skybox.
Legit, like when you unlock certain other abilities, like I could get across to there right now from here.
Right.
So like it's not even just like we're doing some like pretty fancy stuff. Like they are legitimately like loading in a whole new level, which is kind of mental.
So gameplay. Wait, why is there one in there? That seems random. But you're inside.
So the whole kind of thing about these is like this planet is kind of like you're going between 2 dimensions worth of this planet of like this is like it's like prosperous and fine, and then the other is after like a cataclysmic event that has like destroyed the entire planet.
Right.
And then these crystals have absorbed like the power of the Dimensionator, like in all the rifts that have been appearing in the sky that kind of let you go between them.
So that's obviously one of the big. That was the big show-off points, kind of, for this game. Was like, oh, like yeah, we're like you can jump between dimensions in a split second. Other gameplay-wise, kind of, is it just kind of the same as before with any other Ratchet and Clank game?
Yeah, so like at its core, this is still like a third-person platformer with a lot of like gunplay elements in it. You've got a massive arsenal of weapons that you can rely on, and they get upgraded kind of as you use them in traditional Ratchet and Clank fashion. And then there's also just different like platforming sections. One of the new things they've probably added in this is actually a couple of the worlds have a lot more open areas. Like, almost, I don't want to say open world because there isn't exactly a lot to do in them, but you can tell that they've taken the liberty with, like, the much bigger areas they have to kind of be like, oh, let's actually, like, with, like, the more graphic power we can put in, we can actually, like, put in a much bigger, cooler area.
Yeah.
And they've definitely taken liberties with that, and it works out incredibly because getting around these areas is actually super fun.
I know, like, in one of the trailers that they showed off, towards the end of their gameplay demo, PlayStation or Sony, what do they call it? State of Play. During the Ratchet and Clank State of Play, they kind of showed off one of those where you're kind of skating around and like you face off against a giant robot. Is there?
Sorry, I almost sneezed there.
Yeah, is it like? I think there's only like a couple of those. It's not like every world's like that.
Yeah, I think I'd say there's probably only like one that actually is, you could say, is a pseudo open world.
Yeah.
The rest are still like massive areas, but there is much more of a linear progression through those areas.
But I think like it was one of those things where like, because Uncharted 4 did that as well, like where they kind of had slightly more open world, especially with the Jeep
Last
section.
of Us 2 also did that.
Yeah, they had that like
very start.
yeah, like it's like a San Francisco section or something.
Seattle.
Yeah, Seattle. That's it. Yeah, like I think that's really cool because it's like a breath of fresh air in a game, you know, because like it kind of breaks. Not monotony, but you know what I mean? Like, it breaks the pattern and cycle,
Yeah.
so you're kind of like, oh, this is a bit different. This is quite nice. So it is kind of cool that they've done this too. Because it is like one of those things, like, it's a technical showcase. So, like, look at what we can do with this much more powerful hardware behind us now. So, is there much difference then between how Ratchet plays and how Rivet plays?
No, they are like the exact same. It's like in so much so that like all your upgrades and stuff carry over between characters.
So
like,
that's something I was actually thinking
It's
about.
not like, oh, I unlock this up, or I have this gun on Rivet, but I don't have it on Ratchet. No,
yes.
It's
Do they actually explain that, or is it just like...
they kind of explain away as like, oh, you're dimensional counterparts, so like because of the rifts and stuff, it's kind of freaking out that like when one person does something, it affects both of you.
Right, so like if I unlock a blaster with Ratchet, then she has this. It's like, yeah, okay, I have this as well. So yeah, so the gameplay then overall is just your typical kind of gunplay, third person, weirdly I always laugh like at the weirdly static like aiming reticle, like because like your legs are like moving, like but your upper body's completely static. Yeah,
like if I'm aiming and I like it's cool. Like I've always been a massive fan of like how Ratchet and Clank plays. It's super satisfying to play, which like I feel like a lot of third-person platformers don't go towards. Like you've still got the stuff in like collectibles kind of range from like the gold bolt, which have been in every game, which kind of unlock like almost cheat codes essentially.
Yeah.
So like you see, oh, these unlock in order. Like it's not like, oh, this gold bolt is such and such. It's like the first gold bolt you get will always get you this sprint skin. The second gold bolt will always get you this. So like it's like, oh, you can change the skin of Rivet's hammer so it looks different. So, like it's a different color. I can make it gold. And stuff like that. And then like as you get the later ones, you unlock stuff like, oh, you just get infinite ammo and things like that, which was nice for grinding a couple of things when I was getting the platinum, to be fair.
Does Clank have an arm missing?
Yes, so that happens when you get towards the dimensions.
Is this entire thing just to get his arm back?
No. For the entire game he never gets a new arm.
Wait, is it his right arm?
Yeah, which I think...
Which is weird.
Yeah, because
she has her... Oh, did I just do a spoiler, Nick?
No, not at all.
Damn it. I've been watching too much game theory.
So you see, I have a number of different weapons. So like I've got the pixelizer, which is kind of just like a shotgun, which does a cool little pixel effect, and I can shatter them for funny things.
I remember when the whole thing with the whenever the PS4 reboot happened, I was like, look at all the particles we have on the screen for this.
I like the writing in this game. I think is top notch. Like the game just oozes so much like charm and like it's very funny at times.
Well, it always was. Like Insomniac have always been very good, like with their humor. Like whether it's the tone of the world, whether it's just like the dialogue, it is like. For fuck's sake, like they wrote Spider-Man, you know, like the one superhero he needs to quip after everything, and like at no point did it feel tiresome. So yeah, no, I am. Plus, like in this one, you can be really like cartoony with it, like a Saturday morning cartoon almost. So weapon-wise, like obviously they do, although they keep some of the favorites and stuff from time to time, they do introduce a lot of new ones. So like overall, like how do they all feel? Like, do some of them feel the same, or like are some hit more hits than misses? Or
I think overall all the weapons are pretty cool. Like there's some that are a bit more plain. Like at one point, like one of the later weapons is just like a straight up sniper rifle, which is a bit boring, but like it does the job. And then you've got cool stuff like the lightning rod. Essentially, is just like a chain lightning gun. So as you hit people, they blow up. This is a shotgun which has 2 barrels, and then this kind of like gets into like the stuff that you can do with the DualSense controller. So like there's like an audible lock, or like there's noticeable lock in the controller where if I pull this once, it fires 1 barrel, but then if I pull it all the way, it fires both barrels.
Yeah.
And they do a couple of cool things like that with some of the other weapons as well. So like this one, like if I pull it slightly, it's firing like just steady shots, and then as I pull it all the way, with more of a rapid fire and actually like starts causing recoil and stuff.
Yeah. Like so, like, is there any more of like? Obviously, we've talked about that kind of the quick loading times, and there's the feedback on the triggers. Do they use any other PS5 gadgets and goops and stuff?
Not really, like, but those are kind of the main things. Like, we really can't really think of anything else they could do with the PS5.
Did you obviously you platinum this? So did you use like the trophy guide stuff, or?
Yeah, so they have like the card stuff here. So it's like, oh, here are the gold bolts, and then like inside you can be like, all right, they'll actually have like wee videos to tell you, oh, here's actually where this like gold bolt is, and, like they'll actually kind of point you in the right direction of it, which I use for a couple of them. Not like. To be fair, like I don't think the gold bolts are massively hard to find.
Yeah.
Like some of the collectibles are harder to find that they don't actually give you those hints for.
Like I do. That dude is not following his path correctly. He was walking into the wall. I do think it's really cool. Like I think it's a really cool thing for people who want the platinum stuff that's there. I'm sure like some platinum purists will be like, oh, you made it too easy now. You figure out the meaning of what platinum means. But I think it's a really cool thing, and like especially for like, but I do feel like it maybe needs to be refined a bit. So I finally got my PS5. Hashtag humble brag, right?
Okay.
Well, I currently own a quarter of it. You still own 3/4 of it. But I was playing around with Astro's playground, right? Playroom, and I was like looking through the trophy guides, and I was like, oh, this looks kind of cool. And then I was like, oh, it's like find all the puzzle pieces in this area, and it was like the labo area. And the video showed the person like running through and running up to like the claw machine, the gacha machine. I was like, yeah, I got that. You did not need to show me that. That is the core purpose of the gacha machine. Like, why did you need to show me that? Stuff like that, I think it needs refined a bit better. But like overall, I still think that's a really cool feature to have.
Yeah.
On the PS, and I'm glad that like something like this, especially because like Ratchet and Clank have always had a lot of collectibles and stuff. So I really like the fact that this would pretty much make full use of it.
Oh, there's something else. That's here.
I also think it's kind of funny we're doing it on the fence of Ratchet and Clank, and you've not shown Ratchet once.
Yeah. So like it's. You play as certain people in certain levels, like it's like, so if I go to another planet, what
the heck?
Like Rivet will be like, oh, I wonder what Ratchet's up to, and then it'll just cut to Ratchet going to that planet.
Yeah.
It's not like, oh, I can just say, oh no, I want to be Ratchet on this, and like it's not that it's like that ties back to like they play the exact same. Like there is no difference to playing as Ratchet than there is to playing as Rivet.
Do you? I don't know if you can talk about this without getting spoilers, and if not, just feel free to like veto. But post game, can you swap between them on the fly? No.
Again, it post game, like it puts you back. Well, once you finish the game, it puts you back like just before like the point of no return, and it's just Sir, I'm trying to buy stuff here. You walk right past.
You're in my camera shot, sir.
But no, again, it just goes back to, oh, I wonder what Ratchet's doing in this one, or I wonder what Rivet's up to.
All right, okay, so right, that's fair enough then. The just looking at that. So what are you looking at? This is obviously the shop.
So this is the
stuff,
shop.
but-
So like, as you progress through the planets, you'll get new like weapons to just buy, and then you can just spend your rivets, your bolts here. And then the way you upgrade each weapon is pretty cool. I can't remember if this was in the older games. It's blanking here. So essentially the way it works is as you level up the weapons by using it, you'll unlock, so I'll go to one that I... So this is a level 1 weapon I've just bought, and you can see it's fairly limited about what upgrades I can buy here with like the raritanium I've been collecting. But if I go to, say, the Enforcer, which I've been using for a bit, you'll see these gold like nodes.
Yeah.
So to unlock these gold nodes, I actually need to buy everything around it.
Right, okay.
And then once I kind of completely cover it, it's like, alright, now you've got these effects too.
So, how does... So you've obviously say... Do you unlock more hexagons by using the
Yeah,
item
so
more?
like,
or?
as I level up these weapons, then yeah, it'll unlock more of these hexes.
Right, and they just level up by as you kill more
Yeah,
enemies.
so
pretty much.
as I hit enemies with them, essentially it levels them up.
But like, it's just... Sorry, just because I just... Like, even this area is so cool.
Yeah, because like it's so busy.
Yeah, and like the reboot did a good job with like just the skyboxes and stuff. Like there's one where you literally touch down, like there's like a dog fight going on in the sky between spaceships.
Yeah.
And even in the state of play, they showed the nighttime nightclub scene. Like this hub area is not something that we've ever seen really in like a Ratchet and Clank game, where like there's just people walking about, NPCs like dilly dallying and like interacting and stuff. It's so cool looking.
So it's worth saying we are playing. Oh, I'm playing this on the performance ray tracing mode. There is a 30 FPS like fidelity mode, which is like, yo, here's all the bells and whistles, but obviously it's going to run at 30 FPS. And there is just a straight up performance mode, which will run at 60, but with like ray tracing at the bonus of it running at a higher resolution compared to the performance ray tracing mode.
So like technically, like you haven't noticed any like look at that. That is cool. You haven't noticed any like performance issues?
No,
with
like
this and all?
like playing it in the performance ray tracing mode, I've not noticed like the lower resolution or anything. It's been a super solid 60. It's never dropped for me at all that I've noticed. I've noticed one or two weird graphical things like with the performance ray tracing mode, but like nothing that's been like you literally see it for like a split second or two in some shots and that's it.
Have you noticed any like weird models, like model stuff? Like, so for example, like I've been playing Spider-Man on the same mode. Like I would hit triangle to after I save Spider-Cat. He's got the backpack on. I hit triangle to like go into like a door and initiate the cutscene. Because you hit triangle, he like glitches automatically into like the start of the cutscene like view. Like, have you noticed anything like that?
No, not really.
I wonder if like that's going to be like an overall thing for like PS5 games where like it's like, yeah, like it's just freaking out a wee bit because it's trying to like get the resolution and stuff. I always laugh at the cutscenes where like Clank's on the back.
Because half the time you're just like staring at you.
That, but also he's like at no point he's like, what's going on with him? I can't see.
Hopefully they can help us figure out what happened there.
Imagine living your life as a backpack. It'd be so degrading.
Well, like his legs are also injured in this game, so he can't actually walk. Yeah.
The bots would have followed the paths
So-
by the survey rods.
What's actually happening on this planet? I know obviously you talked about like why you can just jump between them, but so like what's actually the story of this planet?
So
like,
I'm at this planet because this is pretty. I think this is about maybe 2-3 hours into the game, and like Rivet and Clank have actually just, or Rivet and Ratchet have just kind of met each other. Oh god. Like have actually just like come in contact with each other for the first time,
Right.
And they've kind of just said, all right, we need to split up to like cover as much ground to create this Dimensionator as fast as possible. So while Ratchet goes and gets the schematics to create a new one, Rivet is here to like get one of the like core parts for it.
Alright, okay.
So this is another like DualSense thing where like I can hold this for like if I hold the trigger down halfway, like, and like there's a noticeable lock on it, I can like keep this charged for as long as possible until I pull the trigger and it actually fires the beam.
Okay.
Or I can just pull it down all the way and it'll fire the beam straight away as soon as it's ready.
Man, like, just look at that.
Yeah, this game is like fantastically pretty, and like it is a showpiece of like why I want more games to be next gen exclusives, and it's disappointing hearing things like, oh, that like Forbidden West isn't going to be next gen exclusive, and that
Greetings. We are in the greatest of danger.
Scientist bought Bob.
Be quick.
Like, one thing that always blows me away, you don't really see it with Rivet here, but with Ratchet, that's lava.
I went too soon.
But with Ratchet is his fur.
Yeah.
Like, every time I see him, because he has slightly longer fur than Rivet here, and I'm like, wow.
Yeah.
Like, that is crazy. And like
Like, it was something that, like, in the PS4 version, you could see, like, oh yeah, in cutscenes, like, Ratchet looks amazing, but you could see that there was, like,
a slight drop down.
when in the actual gameplay, like, you don't notice that in this. Like, it is constantly a phenomenal looking model.
Yeah, like, it is just one of those things, because, like, it's one of those things where, like, they would maybe have to, in PS4, they would maybe have to try and hide it. And the thing is, like, someone like Insomniac's very clever at hiding that sort of stuff. But, like, in this, they don't need to hide it, because you can just, like, have the same model for cutscenes and for in-game play and just be perfect. Yeah. I'm going to barf. That's cool and all, but, like, too much of that, I'm just going to be like,
I must flee.
I'll ping her so she comes back to me.
like, look at that. Like, that is mental, like, the fact, like, you've just jumped from one completely different level to another. Like,
There's an old reset
And, like, it's not like weird trickery. It's not like, oh, we're actually only in, like, a small subset of this level. It's like, no, like, this is that full level we were just in.
yeah.
And, like, I think it's a shit, like, they only kind of use this, like, they use this in another one, like, another level.
Yeah.
But it's not kind of as open as this one, so you don't really notice it as much.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I do kind of wish they had, like, went a bit further with some of that stuff.
But maybe it's only certain levels they can do it with. Like, maybe, like, with other one, like, a more heavy level, like, you would notice the load time or something. But, like, imagine, like, when you say load time, like, you could probably hide it somewhat, like, and not even like in a lengthy, like, I'm going to squeeze through this narrow passage, like, more in a, like, you're diving through, like, some weird, like, wormhole thing, and then, like, but, like, even that, like, is going to take, like, you make that 1 second, that's probably all you would need.
Behind the safety glass.
Who voices her?
It's Jennifer Heel.
Is it? Oh,
Or Femshep.
wow, Femchef has really dropped down the chain of command. Does that ever get, like, do they ever use that for, like, puzzles? Like, the kind of the jump in between more?
Not really, like-
it seems like it'd be perfect for, like, kind of like puzzle solving stuff.
In terms of, like, puzzles and stuff, I don't really think there is many in this game. Like, a lot of the puzzles are just, alright, how do I platform my way across to this area? Which, like, not really difficult, like, honestly, half the time.
No, just, like, I think, like, it's one of those mechanics that you could probably, like, make some really cool puzzles with it, I just think. Also, I just realized you're very close to dying.
Yeah.
Very nonchalant with it. Yeah. It's just death. It's cool.
Hostile entity. Hello. Are you my best friend?
No, I'm not your best friend. Leave me alone. So, Nick, do you have anything else you want to show off before we launch into your thoughts and opinions?
Not really.
No.
Before the other bit, I may jump into... Oh, God. I forgot to dodge.
R.I.P.
For the other bit, I may jump into my, like, post-game save.
Okay.
Just to show off, like, some of the other weapons and things.
Oh,
So, I'll not do anything spoilery, like, but if weapons are considered spoilery to you, one, reevaluate your opinions, come on. And two, then, sorry about that.
what about the Rhino, Nick? Is it a spoiler? 'Cause
No.
it could spoil multiple games because it pulls different things from different realities. Right, so yes, we will jump ahead then to Nick's thoughts and opinions on Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart. Nick,
Hans.
if I was on the fence about Mr. Fungi, about Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart, what would you say to me?
Ignoring the fact that there's not a lot of PS5 games, and you'll probably buy this anyway, because there's not a lot of PS5 games if people need them, I would not hesitate for a second to recommend this to someone. It is peak Ratchet and Clank, and whether or not that's your thing or not, regardless, it is peak. Like, platforming, it's such a great showcase for what the PS5 can do and what next-gen consoles can do. And it's charming, it's witty, it's funny, it's incredibly fun to play. The weapons are ridiculous. It never gets boring. Like, there is no, like, it never feels like it's wasting your time either. Like, it's a pretty, like, swell, like, I think it's like 10, 12 hours I think it took me to, like, even just get the platinum. And, like, overall, it's just, like, a absolutely, like, top-notch experience, like, from top to bottom. Like, could not fault it at all. It's incredible. Like, the best Ratchet and Clank game, if not the best, like, PS5 game available out there right now.
So that is Nick's thoughts and opinions on Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart. Only available on PS5 for about £70. Sorry, the cat just jumped up and was trying to...
No, stop attacking Ratchet!
Thank you very much for joining me, Nick.
No problem.